Rahim here with Abel Sanchez. We're finally having our second of the press conferences for Canelo Triple G. You've been in this game a very long time. You've run with a lot of champions. Would you consider this to be, if not the most, one of the most difficult negotiations and lead-ups to a fight you've had in your career?
I think so, but I think it's not so much because of the fighters. I think the time, this particular time in our life, it's more about business and not about the good fights.
We saw a good fight the first time. Most of the boxing world believes that Triple G won that first fight, even though it came up with a draw on the cards. How important did you feel personally to settle this score, and did it need to be settled?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it needed to be settled, not only for us, but for the fans. There's a lot of fans out there that are backers of Canelo still claiming that he won, and of course there's a lot of backers of Golovkin that claiming that he won. But we all know who did. It was just a matter of making sure that it was right. Some of the things were righted that were wronged the first time. And the negotiations ending up like they did, and Golovkin accomplishing what he wanted to accomplish in those, I think that's the first wrong that's righted.
You were gracious enough to invite me into camp on a couple of occasions, so I've firsthand seen the kind of dedication that Triple G puts into his camps, preparing for fights, the kind of environment you create. It's got to be mentally wearing, though. It's something that the kind of commitment it requires, and living in there and doing it your way, to build up and be ready for one date, and then that goes away, and then maybe we don't fight this guy, and now maybe we do fight this guy, and maybe we don't, now we are, and now it's yet another 3 months. How do you have to adjust camp and keep your fighter mentally sharp for a date on the 15th of September now? Well,
May the 5th is gone now. The frustration for May the 5th is gone. Now, what he wanted to accomplish in the negotiations. Now it's time to, I think he comes into camp on the 5th of July. Now it's time to focus again, or refocus like he was focused for the 5th on September 15th. But I think that now that it's signed, I think it's a different motivation for him. I think it's a motivation of, there's a lot of things that I have to make sure that people understand were wrong, and I'm going to right them on that day.
You want to give us any indication of what you feel like needs to be righted?
I think that, first of all, judging, that's the first thing. Second of all, I think that the group on the other side is mad enough so that maybe they're going to put on the kind of fight that they promised the first time. At least try to knock Golovkin out. At least try to knock him out. That way, if you do that, then you're at range to be able to fight instead of run. When he first fought Lara, he said that Lara ran. When he fought Mayweather, he said that Mayweather ran. When he fights Golovkin, he said that that's boxing. So he needs to make up his mind which is which. And I think that if he fights the fight that he fought 44 or 45 fights before, I think that we as fans are going to be treated to a great fight.
Obviously, the negotiations were tumultuous at best, back and forth, came down to ultimatums and last-minute deals. Who do you think got the advantage there as far as the fighters go, not the promotion, but the fighters go mentally in that kind of first round of the second battle?
The first thing that I think the fans have to understand is when he said 50-50, he meant 50-50. The only reason he came down to 45 was to make sure that the fans understood that he has no excuses. They're at 45, I'll come down to 45 so the fight can be made. Golovkin didn't give in at 45. He got what he wanted. He got what he wanted, and all the ultimatums, all the deadlines and everything, he was in Russia. He didn't care. He didn't care. We had a fight set up for, in case this one didn't go through, with Billy Joe Saunders on the 25th of August at the Forum. That fight was almost completed. What the conditions were that we had to finish this completely with Canelo first. So Golovkin was in Russia. He didn't care. He said what he wanted. He wanted the 45, and he got what he was asking for. In his mind, he got what he was asking for. So I think that has to be a win-win for Golovkin.
We were told about the Billy Joe Saunders plan B after this Canelo fight was finally made. Beyond what the fans may want to see, or even where the money is, who's a better fight for Triple G?
I think they're both good fights. I think that Billy Joe Saunders is a clean slate. We have no history, so there's nothing for the fans to look forward to. We don't know what kind of fight that's going to be. At least the Canelo fight, we kind of have a little history. We know the fans know what to expect. The fans know what kind of fight Golovkin's going to fight, because that's how he fights all the time. So it's just a matter of Canelo living up to his word and doing what he said he's going to do. So I think From a fan perspective, I think the Canelo fight's a better fight because we know what we're going to get.
If I were to put you in the other corner, which is not your natural place, obviously, but being the kind of trainer that you are, you see things from both perspectives. Would you tell Canelo to go in there, facing the fire against Triple G? I mean, honestly, would that be the best advice for him?
It's not so much facing the fire. He's going to face the fire in the ring, but he's going to face the fire outside the ring like he has been after the last fight. So it all depends on what he wants his legacy to be, what he wants his fans to think about him. For some reason, Mexican fans, we have a habit of supporting our guys as long as they go out on their shield. As long as they do what they tell us they're going to do and they go out and they don't succeed, we still love them. Why we love them? Because they're hombres, they're men. This last fight, he behaved in a manner that is not the way the champions of the past from Mexico have behaved, not only inside the ring but outside the ring. So if I was on the other side, I would say try to knock him out. What's the worst thing that can happen? You hurt him or he hurts you, and that's what the fans want to see anyway. But I think that if he doesn't, he's going to have the same kind of backlash like he had the first time, even worse.
And lastly, you've stated why you feel like the rematch is necessary, and there's certain things that you want to prove and correct. As a trainer, you're a perfectionist. There's always something you feel like you can work on. From Triple G's perspective, like you said, he was willing to walk away. He had the 45. He didn't get it. He seemed happy with the backup plan. Why do you think he wants this fight? Is it just something that he's doing for the fans now, or is it self-motivated?
No, I think it's self-motivated. I think that he wants to right those wrongs. I think that he feels, one, the judging was terrible in the first fight. Two, Canelo didn't live up to what he wanted to live up to. So he feels like, I'm not going to say failed, but he feels like he didn't give the fans what they were looking for. The drama show that he always talks about, whether it's one way or the other way, he's willing to go in there and he's willing to, just like he was willing to take the cut and pay from the 45 down to Saunders, he's willing to take an L. If he loses, he loses. He's that kind of man. He's the man of principle. He's a man of character, and whatever is right, that's what he wants.
And now that we're towards the, I want to say the end of his career, because, he's still a viable fighter to say the least. But it's a young man's game, and he's starting to check boxes on goals that he stated from the beginning. Where do you think, in Triple G's mind, the end game goes?
I think that this fight is very important for the end. I think that this fight will tell him where he's at. Not me and not Tom, not anybody around, but Golovkin. Gennady getting in the ring, and not so much getting in the ring, but getting in the training camp and doing that drain, as you saw in training camp. This fight will tell him. This fight will tell him how much longer he wants to go. I feel he's got 4 or 5 fights still in him. Hopefully it's the fights that are going to unify the belts like he wanted to, but if they're not, that's okay. As long as there are fights out there that motivate him, I think he has 4 or 5 left.
Is 68 a serious option? Are you guys seriously considering moving up in weight at all?
If he still has the drive and there's no fight at 60 that motivates him, absolutely, why not?
Well, let's move upstairs and get some of this lunch. Radio Rahim with Abel Sanchez, trainer of Triple G. Can't wait for this rematch. I'm glad you guys made it. I want to see it. Those people want to see it. Radio Rahim with Abel Sanchez.